Imagine starting to speak English, not with, thousands of words, but with just 100. Sounds impossible, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
now, most people would probably say so.
Welcome to the Mindelo channel, where we simplify complex ideas and help you grow with confidence. Today, we're looking into something really counterintuitive. How it's actually possible to gain, real confidence in spoken English with a surprisingly tiny vocabulary. We're going to unpack some fascinating ideas suggesting that fluency, or at least, functional communication, might be much closer than you think.
Exactly. And our mission here is to really dig into that. We'll look at the linguistic thinking behind it, figure out what makes certain words so powerful,
Right.
and crucially talk about practical ways you can actually start using this idea today. It brings up a really important question. Can a vocabulary this small genuinely work for real-life conversations? Maybe even when you travel.
For so many people starting a language, the sheer number of words is just overwhelming. It's like looking at a dictionary and thinking, where do I even start?
It's a huge barrier.
You feel like you have to memorize everything just to say hello or ask for coffee. But what if there was a kind of shortcut? What if that mountain isn't quite so high? So let's unpack this concept. It really challenges the traditional way most of us think about learning languages.
It definitely does.
Okay, so the core idea being put forward is this. You can start speaking English with confidence using just 100 words. And that sounds almost too good to be true, right?
It does sound a bit wild at first.
Yeah, but apparently this isn't just, wishful thinking. Language experts, educators, they actually tend to agree. It's based on how language is really used day to day.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, quite eye-opening actually, is the research. Studies show again and again that the 100 most common words in English, they make up almost half of everyday spoken and written English.
Wow.
50%. Think about that. Half the words you hear in normal chats or read in simple texts come from this really small group. So if you zoom out a bit, mastering these words isn't just a little helpful. It really gives you the fundamental building blocks. They're like the essential bricks and mortar of communication.
And we're not talking obscure words you'll never use. We mean words like I, you, is, have, go,
Septic.
in, at, and, because. These are words you just can't avoid. They're like everywhere in conversation.
Exactly. It reminds me of that quote from the linguist David Wilkins. He said something like, without grammar, very little can be conveyed. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed.
Powerful.
Right. He's stressing that even if grammar provides the structure, it's the words themselves, even a small core set, that carry the actual meaning. So having these foundational words isn't just a nice start. It's absolutely essential for any kind of real exchange.
That 50% figure is still kind of blowing my mind. It starts to make sense, though. But okay, what are these super useful words exactly? And for someone listening who wants to actually use them, what can you genuinely do with them?
Good question.
Like, how does it translate into actual speaking?
Well, this core 100 list isn't random. The words fall into really specific, highly functional types. You've got pronouns, obviously, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Can't talk about people without them.
Right. Essential.
Then you have the really common verbs, be, have, do, make, go. The absolute workhorses. They let you talk about basic actions and states. Plus key prepositions in, on, at, to, helping you place things in space or time.
Locators, basically.
Exactly. And connectors like and, but, or if. These are vital for linking ideas, making your thoughts hang together. They're not just common, they're kind of the linguistic glue. You almost can't form a coherent sentence without hitting several of them. That's why they show up so often.
Okay, here's where it really clicks for me. With just these words, you're not just learning vocabulary, you're unlocking immediate practical use. Imagine, you land somewhere new. With this core set, you can actually say, I need water, please.
Basic survival.
Or point and ask, where is train? And likely get understood. You can introduce yourself. I am name. Make simple requests. Can I have this?
It's about function.
Think how incredibly practical that is for just getting by.
Yeah.
Everyday stuff, travel. It cuts right to the chase of what you need to say.
It really is about practical application. Like from day one, you're not just memorizing lists, you're getting the tools for basic human interaction. It helps bypass that awful feeling of being totally stuck, unable to express even simple needs. That's often the biggest hurdle, isn't it?
Totally. So, okay, this approach feels almost too simple sometimes, especially when, language apps are pushing thousands of words. What are the real upsides for someone learning? Is there a downside? Why focus so small?
That's a fair point, and yeah, people are sometimes skeptical. But the benefits are pretty significant, especially for beginners. The materials we looked at point to four main things. First, simplicity. It's just way less overwhelming. Instead of Mount Everest, it's a manageable hill. That cuts down the info overload, the feeling of paralysis.
Yeah, I can see that. Left initial anxiety like, okay, I can actually do this starting point.
Exactly right. And that directly fuels the second benefit. Confidence. You see progress really quickly when you realize, hey, I can actually form sentences. I understand basic things, maybe in just days or weeks. That success is a massive motivator.
Ah, the quick win.
Yeah, it makes you want to keep going. You're not just hoping to speak English someday. You're doing it now, even simply.
So that confidence isn't just a nice feeling. It actually drives more learning, like a positive loop. You do a bit, feel good, want to do more. Makes sense.
Precisely. Which leads to number 3, practicality. You can handle real, everyday situations with this limited set. Like you said, introductions, directions, ordering food. These become doable almost right away.
You're using it immediately.
You're doing the language, not just studying abstract rules. Think how relieving that is for a traveler who can suddenly make basic needs known.
Okay, and the fourth point. How does this set you up for learning more?
That's the fourth key advantage, and maybe the most important long-term. It builds a solid foundation for growth. Once you're truly comfortable with these core 100 words, adding more vocabulary, understanding more complex grammar, it all becomes much, much easier.
Like building on a strong base.
Exactly. You've got a reliable scaffold to build on, like learning arithmetic before tackling algebra. This whole approach really tackles that desire for quick but also thorough knowledge without the overwhelm. It breaks the huge task down into achievable, confidence-boosting steps. It lowers that initial barrier where so many people just get stuck and give up.
Right. Okay, so if this sounds like a path someone wants to try, how do they actually start? How do you practice these specific words effectively? Knowing the theory is one thing, but putting it into action, what are the practical steps?
Well, the good news is there are tons of great resources out there, many free and easy to find. You can look for websites and established language organizations. They often have lists of the most common words. Many provide clear audio, example sentences, quizzes, even little games focused just on this core vocabulary.
So they're geared towards practical use.
Very much so. They often structure lessons around everyday situations, making it super accessible for beginners. You don't need dusty old textbooks. These are often designed for immediate impact and use.
That's good to know. So once you find a resource like that, what does the actual practice look like? Day to day? Because consistency must be key, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. First step, practice every single day. Even if it's just 10-15 minutes, this could be using flashcards, digital apps are great for this, or even physical ones, or just trying to write a few simple sentences using the words you're learning. Repetition is how it sticks.
Short bursts, but consistent.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be hours, just regular focused effort.
And what about actually speaking? For someone who feels maybe a bit shy or awkward starting out?
Yeah, very common feeling. The second tip is speak aloud. Even if you're just talking to yourself or your cat, whatever, forming simple sentences with your 100 words helps build fluency and confidence.
Gets your mouth moving.
Right. It gets your mouth, your tongue, your brain used to producing the sounds and linking them. It might feel weird at first, but it's crucial for that muscle memory.
Okay. And listening, how does that fit in?
Third step, watch and listen. Actively seek out videos, podcasts, audio lessons made for English learners. This helps you hear how these common words sound in real context, used by native speakers. It improves your pronunciation and your understanding of how they're naturally used.
Hearing the rhythm and flow.
Precisely. Lots of free stuff online for this beginner podcast, simple dialogues. It also helps you tell apart words that might sound similar.
Okay, makes sense. And finally, to really make it stick and, use it with actual people.
Yes, the fourth practical step. Join a community. Find language forums online, maybe language exchange apps or groups, even local conversation meetups if they exist where you are.
Practice partners.
Exactly. It's invaluable for practicing in real time. You can try out your core vocabulary, ask questions, get feedback. This is where the learning really comes alive. It makes me wonder, thinking about all these, what stands out to you as maybe the easiest first step for someone listening?
Probably that daily practice with an app or flashcards seems most accessible initially. Then maybe building up to the listening and community parts.
Yeah, that seems like a common path. Start small, build confidence, then connect.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? I think the big takeaway is You don't need to be intimidated by the sheer size of English.
Hmm.
You really don't need thousands of words to start communicating effectively, to start feeling more confident.
Yeah, looking at the bigger picture, mastering those, say, 100 essential words is just an incredibly powerful launch pad. It gives you the tools to communicate basic needs, to connect with people, to start exploring, and you build confidence step by step from there. It's about efficiency, maximum impact from that initial effort.
The journey to real fluency, it truly starts with just one word, then another, building on that crucial first 100. What possibilities could you unlock if you just committed to getting the hang of that foundational set? Something to think about. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Mindelo channel for more insights to help you grow with confidence.